to the U.S. and doing stuff, because that's really, really important also, because I've been to Australia, so I know what the food is like. The first thing I remember when I go in there in '94, everybody wanted to go to McDonald's at that point. And I'm like, wow, the fries are salty, which I love. But for me, black men, high blood pressure, diabetic. So I was always watching out for that. For me right now, I'm 54. I don't have that. So this reminded me of what still to eat correctly, because we still need that. Talk about that.
That's right. Well, I think that we've sort of, it's almost like a result of capitalism. Kind of, it's a fast culture. We're time poor these days. You want a quick fix, and you want something that gives you that quick fix. And often it's a sugary food. It's cheap. It's easier to feed your family that way. We've kind of got to a point where we realise it's not working anymore. I mean, type 2 diabetes is killing someone every 6 seconds worldwide now. Obesity is out of control. In children now, there's fatty liver disease, type 2 diabetes. I mean, this is a major concern. This is a failing on our part as our generation, in that we need to respect and look after our children, and we've obviously not taught them the right ways about food. So I think it's a mighty marketing, powerful beast, the food industry. They're not sort of doing it maybe deliberately. They're trying to just make money. That's kind of what capitalism is. And if they can get people to buy their products, they're going to make money. So it's kind of become this, it's a mess, and the problem is that we have a primal desire for sugar. It goes way back. It's in our brains. It lights up when we see images of sugary foods. So it's this kind of perfect storm of all these things that have come together. But now we've reached a point where we go, we can't keep going like this. We actually have to do something. And I think there is an awareness going on all around the world at the moment. It's almost like a food revolution, where people are trying to go back to real foods again, as much as they can, avoiding those processed foods, snacking on the nuts and the fruit in its whole form, eating vegetables, eating sort of meats again and butter and these kind of real foods that our great-grandparents grew up on and didn't have any of these problems. And as much as we can teach our kids that, then obviously we're going to set them up for a much healthier future.
Talk about the difference of, because this is very interesting, of what you have in Australia now, because I haven't been in a couple of years. And it's funny, I was talking to Alan Hitz, the directors of Keep On Keeping On, about it, because he's become a friend. Very interesting when you leave there, come here, and you're here for like a month or whatever, and you go back. That's, first of all, that's a food shock. Second of all, culture shock. But talk about those differences. Very, very important.
I mean, I think people need to understand that Australia, we have the second fastest rate of obesity in the world. So even though we have a very conscious way of living, we have land, and there's a healthy aspect to us, we still have our lower socio-economic areas that are completely struggling. And we've got the same issues that America has. And the interesting thing is, we don't have high fructose corn syrup in Australia. We use cane sugar, but the molecular structure are virtually the same. So this fructose, which is the part we're looking at in the film, it's 55% in corn syrup, but it's 50% in table sugar, and we're seeing the same problems. So I think when I came to America, I noticed even during the film that you guys have got just as much sugar in your foods as we do. It's nearly 18% of the food supply. Australia's no different. And our bodies, we cannot deal with that amount. We cannot deal with a small amount, that's fine. The World Health Organization says 6 teaspoons a day for humans. That's what we should be having of added sugars. We're having between 30 and 40. Now, of course, when you have that much excess, of course your body can't process it properly. And that's why we're seeing this kind of growing diseases and metabolic problems and obesity. So it's just about raising that awareness. We're not trying to demonise sugar. We're just trying to get people to be more conscious of what they're putting in their mouths. Read a label. Learn to take control and empower yourself, so you don't have to worry about the food industry or what the government's saying. You get to do this action and put it into your mouth and your kids. And how do you want to set them up for the future? Do you want them to be sick and relying on medications, or do you want them to be the healthiest, most beautiful, radiant people they can be? It's very simple.
Talk about why you did this. You chose to do this project, and going to New York and to Kentucky on Mountain Dew, because it was interesting. I'm watching so many movies right now for our film festival. This made me stop and watch yours because it reminded me of many, many things. Teeth, health, different states, different countries. And you mentioned Mountain Dew. Occasionally I want to have a Mountain Dew. You just stop me from drinking Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Well,
because I know it's not good, but occasionally drinking so much water, I'm like, I want to have something different for once.
And that's fine. And that's the point, is that if that was what everyone was doing, we'd be totally fine. If you just did have a Mountain Dew every now and again, great. But there's 2 problems there. One is that people aren't doing that, because to some people it's incredibly addictive. Not everyone, but look at this young boy Larry. I mean, he's had his entire teeth removed, and he's still drinking the stuff. And even now when I speak to him, he's still having it. So what's that saying about these substances? They do have a hold on people. So I think some people are more sensitive than others. We're not all the same. But again, it's just the education isn't there. I mean, the fact that he's drinking 12 cans of that stuff a day, like, how do we get to that point? How did that happen? The marketing and the advertising, or that lack of awareness. I guess that's what we need to do. We need to address that and deal with the effects, because these people that are making these products, they're not seeing the impact on the ground. It's the same with the Aboriginal culture in Australia. Coke aren't seeing the impact it's having. All they're looking at is the figures and are they reaching their goals each week, because that's what capitalism is set up to do. But there is an effect on human beings, and at some point we need to actually take control of that and put humans first for once, and actually go look at the health of our population, because it's not productive if we're all sick, and that's where we're at now.
What would you say to get the audience to come out and see this movie?
Well, I think the key is that it's uplifting and empowering. The point is not to instill fear and make you think you can never eat again, you can't have sugar again. It's actually to arm people with knowledge so that they can move forward and be the best person they can be. And I think I compare it to tobacco as well. We know the parameters of tobacco now. We understand it. So if you want to smoke, that's great. It's your choice. But at least you know what it's doing. And I don't think we're there with sugar yet. And that's the point of the film. Will people have as much sugar once they know where it's hidden? Because we all know if you have a Mountain Dew and some donuts, there's probably some sugar in there. But the point is, most parents aren't aware that it's in barbecue sauce and low-fat yogurts and soups and granola bars, and there's just as much sugar in those foods as there is in the junk food.